welcome to this quick guide on mastering SQL queries and TSQL. In last episode, we discussed DQL and DML. In today's episode, we are diving into a crucial part of SQL Server, that is DCL, which is also called as Data Control Language. We are going to cover a couple of real-time examples of DCL. We all know how important the security is when it comes to manage data. That's where DCL comes into play. It helps control who can access or modify the data in your database and making sure that only authorized users can interact with sensitive data. Whether you are working in finance, healthcare, or any industry with sensitive data, DCL ensures that your data stays secured and protected. At the end of this episode, you would be able to understand DCL and utilize that in your real-time projects. So let's get started. Before we go to SQL Server and see DCL in action, let's define what DCL is. The data control language is basically a set of commands that are used to access the data in the database. These commands can help in defining who can access or modify the data. DCL commands are crucial for maintaining security and integrity of database by controlling which users can interact with specific data or operation. Let's go and dive into some real-time examples. The first examples that we take of banking application. So you know a typical banking application wherein there are many employees working for bank, and there is one post in banking application called financial analyst. The financial analyst is one who needs customers' data based on which he can do some sort of analysis. But point to be noted here is that he only needs access to the data, but he cannot actually modify or delete some data. So what you can do is, there is a table which has customer table on which you can only grant the select or the kind of grant that you can provide to financial analyst where he can only select the data but he cannot perform other operation like modify or delete. Make sense? And likewise, if let's say this financial analyst guy gets transferred to some other department, let's say he gets transferred to loan department, and then he doesn't need that customer data anymore. So what you can do is, although he will be having access to the database for other tables, but for this table, even you can remove the select or access grant as well. So we can see the real-time examples, and this way you can actually control who actually can access the data and who cannot. And even you can also specify the mode of access, like only the access, the retrieval of the data, or the modification of the data, or deletion of the data as well. We'll take another example. This is an example of apartment application. So we have been doing a case study since our beginning in the episode series, and we are doing a real-time example of apartment, and we have introduced almost 7 tables as of now. You can refer to our previous episodes for those old tables. So this apartment application does lots of things. The number one thing that apartment can do is amenities booking. So we have many amenities in the apartment like clubhouse, like other amenities, and somebody wants to book the clubhouse or party hall. So there is a person who is responsible for doing this. This person is a booking staff person. So the apartment residents have hired a staff who can do booking for the residents, the amenities. So this guy, the booking staff, should only be having access of master table. So there is something called amenities master. So he can only access the amenities master table, but he cannot modify that table, or he cannot update, or he cannot even delete any content of that table. So you see here in this real-time example, we are granting this booking staff just for select on that particular table, but he does not have any other access or any other activity he cannot perform on that particular table. Likewise, if there is a person called treasurer, so treasurer is the person who manages all these financial data for apartment and residents. So this treasurer is doing, but let's say there is a monthly maintenance. So monthly maintenance, let's say 5,000 rupees is being collected from all the residents. And what happens, this monthly maintenance has to be reduced by 500. Now instead of 5,000, it should be 4,500. So this person who is a treasurer will have select and update grants on specific table of maintenance table, wherein he can actually select the data of maintenance and he can actually do some sort of update. But please note that he cannot delete here. So this way we can grant these activities on particular table to these treasurer, right? So with these two examples, you see that how efficient and how important this particular DCL is for many real-time examples. So if I'm talking about the DCL, there are two commands coming in DCL. The first is grant and the second is revoke. The name suggests grant means granting, giving permission. So this gives a specific permission to users or roles to perform certain activities, and the activities can be select, update, and delete. And likewise, if you have revoke, so this is to remove. If you have granted, you want to remove. So any previously granted permission can be removed or denied. Make sense? So there are two commands in DCL. This is the syntax where we can write grant command. So you have to write grant, grant, and either of these three or all of these three you can write, or two or three or whatever, on and then table name, right? So grant, select, comma, update, comma, delete, on table name. So angular bracket, that is your table name can be anything, and either of these three that you can write, and two, username or roles. Then you have a user and the roles that you can specify these, any of these three or all of these three or two of these three to this particular user or role. Make sense? Pretty much clear here. Now, if you want to revoke, there is another syntax. So revoke, either select, update, or delete on table from this user. So they are pretty much simple commands that you can use for DCL. Make sense? I will now take you to the SQL Server Management Studio and I'll show these all in action. I am in SQL Server Management Studio and you can see this is my Object Explorer, wherein you can see the couple of databases, system databases existing here like master, model, MSDB, and TempDB. And we have also created our own database, which was apartment DB, is a part of this series. I will first try to show you where the users are existing. So you see that there is something called security tab here, expand data and logins. And you can see that existing these are all existing users here. And you can also locate the users at some other place. They are the global users here, which are applied to all the databases and all the objects. But you can go to see the specific users to specific database as well. So if I'm coming to apartment DB and I am again coming to security and then user expanding, these are the users which are at the top of your apartment DB. Make sense? So let's go first and try to create some login and user, a fresh user and a login user, on which we will try to give some DCL commands, grant and revoke. So let's go and create a brand new user. So first of all, let's create a login. So in order to create users, you need to create login. So for that, you have to create login command and say my login is test user. And then and I'm saying password, password equals, let's say 1 2 3 4 5. This is the simplest password just for a demo I have given. Don't even make any habit of writing this kind of password. Always try to write complex password. So again, I'm going to write creating a user. So for that, you have to write create user and then username. So test user, and then for login name is also test user. For the benefit, I have just created both the names same. And then you have to select a database, on which database that you are going to create. So I am using apartment DB here. Make sense? So let's go and try to execute this so that we'll have a user created. So I think now this has created a user. Let's go and see in database. If I'm going to apartment DB and then I am going to security users, you can say that test users gets created. And likewise, if you have in normal security, global security, in logins, you'll see that test users has got created, right? So this is the user which you have created, and using this, you can log into your database instance. So for that, what I do, I'll go to say connect database engine. And from here, I will not select this Windows user. Instead, I will select SQL Server user. And the test user is there, and the password I'll type 1 2 3 4 5, and this should get connected. So now I have seen that two instances. The one is for the admin user, and second is for our test user. So I'm here, and then let me do one thing is, I'm going to select the apartment DB and let's go to select all from, let's say, flat master. Okay. And you'll see that I'm not able to select first flat master data as the select permission was denied to the object flat master. Right? Before I go and grant this permission to this user, I would like to tell you that you may face some issue when you're trying to connect by a user. Authentication mode is not enabled as both SQL Server and Windows. So if you want really to enable the authentication mode to both, you right click on your instance and go to the properties, and then you come here to security, and in security you have to select this SQL Server and Windows authentication mode both. If you have Windows authentication mode only, then since the test user which we created was SQL Server user, then you won't be able to log in. So please do this change and you would be able to log in. Now let me go. So I am back here in the admin mode. So this instance is for admin, this instance is for admin, and this instance is for test user. You see the test user visible here, and you see that admin is visible here. Make sense? Now from the admin, let me go to grant the permission. So you know the grant permission. So for that, how do you do? So for that, you have to do is, you have to write the command. So let's say grant, and then you have to write permission name. What permission? I am going to only give select permission to this guy. Select on, let's say, flat master. Flat master is my table name. To username is test user. Make sense? So let's grant this permission. Select it and do this. The permission has been granted. And now I'm going to this place in this instance and trying to select the same query. So let's select. And now I am able to actually perform my select query because the permission has been granted by the admin and using the DCL command. Now what if I'm going to try to update something? So I'm going to say update, let flat master set, you know this command, set, let's say area square feet equal to, let's say, 4300, where flat number equals single quote A001. So let's go and fire this command. So this will idly change this 1250 to 4300, but this is not getting executed as the update permission was denied on the object flat master. So you see this user has the select permission, but this does not have, the update permission. Now coming to the admin, I am trying to revoke the permission again. So even I am going to revoke the permission, the select permission to this user even. So revoke select on flat master from test user. Make sense? It's pretty simple. So now select this and let's execute this. This has been revoked, and now come to this instance, and here I am trying to fire the same command, and you see this, I have no permission to select even. So this way you can grant permission to any user or any role. So roles also can be created. I'll get into the details of this in future on the roles as well, but as of now it's as simple as it is. Instead of username you can put the role name as well, right? That needs some additional information for you to convey. That's where I have not created roles here, but yeah, user is sufficient for you right now. So this way you can create and grant the permission, and you can revoke the permission. Make sense? Hope the concept of DCL that I have explained with you, which basically covered grant and revoke, is pretty much clear to you. Write me if you have any query in the comment or over my email. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Subscribe for more updates. Comment or write us at mailtocodewithabby@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.